Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Jack Pinky Pinkowski. He is our marketing guy and works closely with all of our clients on getting them clients. So the two things we're going to talk about today are diversity and setting expectations. So we all kind of envision, I think a lot of us envision, like we're just going to call the lead store. And I think that's part of the problem of some sort of lead generation places. They make themselves, agencies or just give us money and we'll just crank out the leads. You just fax over your order for 32 leads and here's $800 and everything just works great. And I sure wish that was the case, but it's not. And when someone is telling you that, it's pretty unlikely that the quality of leads is going to be good, or there's going to be something wrong. So honestly, yeah, in many businesses, we're really in the client acquisition business and onboarding, not as much in the the business of cleaning. So when it comes to our little corner of the world with cleaning companies, the two things today, I really want to talk about diversifying your solutions, because again, we want that magic box where we just send in our order and they send over the leads. But not only is that not a reality, when you do get something working, right? You get your Facebook funnel working, or your direct messages, or your direct mail, or whatever the case may be, the more digital and scalable and automated it is, the more shaky it is, right? So when you do things like, I'm going to take people out to lunch, that's pretty steady. If you do that consistently, you're going to get pretty steady results. If that would be more on the commercial side. On the residential, if you're like, I'm going to do local service ads, so you just put your thing in, it's really like a lead store, just like we're talking about. But the problem is, sometimes the leads are at a price that you can get. Sometimes there's a lot of them. Sometimes the quality is good. Sometimes there's not. So one of the problems we can have is kind of the steps that most owners take is they start with repeat and referral, which is the best. That's a great foundation, but it's not really scalable, right? Once you've got 20 people and they've all kind of referred you to their friends and family, you can only grow so fast. So phenomenal lead source, terribly unscalable. And then we'll usually throw money at anything. Like our clients come to us with the weirdest things, some of which work on some, billboards or signs at a golf club, or, they get magazines, for crying out, 2025 magazines, for goodness sakes. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's not the old school stuff. It's just trying to give you an idea of the landscape of how many options there are out there. So a lot of times we'll get something that does work. Like I've been preaching for a long time on this show, local service ads for residential. I've been saying for a long time, they're really good, but they're going to, everything is good when, people first come out with it, and they make everything cheap to build, a bunch of audience, and then it gets more expensive. And we're kind of in that depending on the market you're in. So what we're trying to talk about is just diversifying your lead sources. Just like we all kind of understand, if we have one client that's 40% of our revenue, we know that's a scary place, because if that client leaves, we got a problem. But sometimes we'll have Facebook ads or whatever our lead source, friends or family, or whatever the one lead source is, that's 80 to 100% of our business, our new business. And that doesn't freak us out. And it's tough because the stages of marketing are kind of like, well, I'll tell you the stages that they are and as they should be, and then we'll turn over to Jackson. Is most of you guys do it. Somebody sells you on something and you give them some money and it doesn't work, and you go, that guy scammed me, and then you give up on marketing for a minute, and then a couple months later you're like, I need some more clients, so you go somewhere else, and we just repeat that forever. So that can be the cycle, which we don't want. The cycle we do want is we put some money, and that's where the expectations comes in. We put some money in, we test it, understanding the first couple weeks, maybe a month or two, might be testing the copy, testing the offer, testing whatever the ad is. There can be different sizes, shapes, audience, all sorts of variables, and getting data and then making it a little better, and God willing, it'll work, right? And then oftentimes we quit there. I've got my local service ads, I've got my Facebook funnel, I've got my telemarketer in place, or my appointment setter, whatever you want to call it. I've got an online guy or gal direct messaging people or jumping into people's DMs. That's what I'm going to do. But the problem is, of all the marketing stuff that we use internally to get our clients, and that we coach our clients to do to get their clients, almost none of them work the same every month. They got good months, they got bad months, they got highs and they got lows. So that's why I want to talk about diversification. So one, if you've got one thing that's working, God bless you. It's easy to just be like, I'm going to put all my money into that. But we might want to take 20% of your budget. Don't stop doing that. That's the other mistake people make, is they stop doing the thing that's working and try some sexy new thing, and then that doesn't work and they're screwed. But if you keep doing what you're doing at the same level you're doing it, you just take a little extra money to try something else. That's how you kind of build a portfolio of lead sources that work over a year, right? Over a span of a year, you might test 11 lead sources and you might get 3 or 4 cranked in where they're really working. And working doesn't mean every month they do the exact same thing. It means on a big enough time horizon, they kind of level out, but you might have a good month here and a bad month there. And that's why we want 2 or 3 or 4. So that's kind of the overview I see it as, Jackson, but I think you can fill in a lot of the blanks with our client experiences and give a little more value from your side.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head. It's a lot like a roller coaster, with marketing and the channels you do. And regardless of channels or platform or medium, billboard ads, whatever it may be, there's always going to be, a learning curve or a period of testing, a period of learning, a period of integrating to make it work. Cause it will work one way or another. It might work immediately. It might work in, like you said, a month or 2, sometimes even. But the problem arises when if you're reliant on that one channel that's been doing so well for a period of time, and then 1 month it just kind of sucks, or maybe 2 months it sucks, and now you're in a hole, and your only way of digging yourself out of a hole is to test more, which usually requires more money, and the likelihood of that not working right off the bat is pretty high. So now you're really scrambling, and it can really hurt your business. But if you understand this ahead of time, and you've already spent the time to test or to diversify, like, for example, we have a lot of people who use golf clubs or golf courses and do some form of advertising on golf courses, and it works pretty well for them. It works really well during the summertime or the springtime. It doesn't work in the winter, and they understand that because they've tested it or they've analyzed it and understood it. So during the wintertime, they rely on other things. And then during the summer, springtime, they rely on the golf courses or their other type of advertising to pick up that slack. Because that's ultimately where it is it's not shutting off and turning on. It's readjusting and reallocating budget accordingly, right? If you have X amount to spend across all your marketing channels and you understand something's going to do better this time or this is doing better than that, you can shuffle accordingly. It's not this doesn't work now, it's never going to work. This is a slow month for this, so let's pick up something else to relieve that slack. And you're making these changes based off of your understanding that it's going to work, and not an understanding of, or not a position of, I need this to work right now, otherwise I'm not going to have any leads, or I'm not going to have any new business, or I'm going to suffer greatly. Because as soon as you start coming from that position, the position of, I don't want to say weakness, but like you're reliant on something new to help save you, then you're setting yourself up for some disappointment, which really sucks. That's where that mindset, I think, comes from. This didn't work, or I was on a call the other day and somebody told me, I spent money on ads 3 years ago and it didn't work. Facebook ads are the worst thing in the world. They don't work. And I'm like, man, it's like the farthest from the truth. I can give you 20, 30 to 50 different examples of people who have are running basically the same ads, and they work consistently over a 12-month period of time.
I went on a date with a girl 3 years ago and she was mean. I'm off on girls. It's like,
yeah, well, that's women suck.
Women are the worst. Like, okay.
But yeah, it's that frame, that idea that can really, hurt your business, because then you pivot and say, well, I'm not doing the Facebook ads, I'm doing LSAs, and they work great for me. It's like, okay, that's awesome. What happens if you have a bad month with LSA, which you will, like 100%. I can tell you right now, month of April, a lot of people had killer months in March, but right now, April LSAs, they're slow as molasses. And people are, if they don't have other channels, they're hurting. They're saying, man, I'm not doing so well. But you can't have that if your mindset is, this sucks forever, and my expectations are at an all-time low.
I think a lot of what I see us doing for our clients, which is so almost silly, but it's true, is really helping them set expectations properly. Again, if I think I'm going to go on one date, fall in love that moment, get married the next day, any dating experience is going to be bad. Even if others would look at that and go, that's you got a great gal and you're dating and everything's normal. But if my normal is something that's wildly unrealistic, normal is going to seem not great. So a lot of what we do, like we talked about at the beginning, people are like, I spent $500 on Facebook and, I got nothing. What it really means is I got a tremendous amount of data. I moved from not being able to get clicks at a good price and no one coming to my website to people coming to my website at a price I can afford and, signing up for a call, but not showing up. Or, I've gotten some motion, but we count that as nothing, right? Nothing it was really like, I got a bunch of data. I got 7 leads. They just didn't turn in any sales. So they call that nothing. And then so again, had you expected, hey, you're going to need to spend $5,000 over the next 6 months, but you 100% will get something that can add $200,000 of revenue to your company next year at a price that is positive ROI, you go, oh, that's a great deal. But I think we expect it's just going to be quick and easy. So the patience we kind of walk or the expectations we kind of help our set our clients. And again, it's not sexy, right? If you're trying to sell marketing, you don't want to set these reasonable expectations because, and it's just like, gosh, marketers, just tell the truth. Like a lot of them have good stuff. It works. They just kind of go overboard on, what's realistic. So the first part of the patience is when we're first starting. What Jackson's talking about today, which I think can be equally insidious, is just like you said, I did LSAs, they worked for a while, and then I had a bad month or God forbid 2 months. Instead of saying, let me look at it, maybe something's changed, maybe we just had a bad month, we say crazy things like LSAs don't work anymore. And that's can be the truth. Stuff does stop working forever, but it's unlikely. And the reality is if there's other people doing it, especially other cleaning companies, especially for a long time, right? The likelihood someone else is going to be putting a lot of money into an ad that doesn't work for years. It's zero might be too low, but it can see zero from where it's at. So if something's working for anybody, it can work for you, right? So to say Facebook ads don't work or telemarketing doesn't work is like, well, that's categorically untrue, or the market would cease to exist. You might say those don't work well for me, but that would be closer to the truth, but still not true. And I don't think helpful at all. What would be more accurate is I spent $1,000 on telemarketing with one company. I didn't look at the script. I didn't review the calls, and I got 2 bids out of it, and neither of them bought anything. Okay, well, now we're just talking with facts, right? It's when we start making up stuff. Therefore, telemarketing sucks. Or we could do it. It doesn't happen as people don't get this as the same. I spent $100 on LSAs, and I got 2 customers worth $500 each for $1,000. LSAs are the best thing, and that's all I need to do. Like, hold on, both of those are equally untrue. So a lot of what we spend time people do, I say just like be patient. It's okay if it didn't work this month; it'll work next month, and just telling the truth when people lie to themselves. Facebook ads don't work. This doesn't work. This is never going to work. This is a scam. Everything's a scam. And just helping them see the bigger picture of it just takes you think it takes this much work. I just write a check and I should have all the customers I want. And it takes a little more work. Good news is with a little more work and a little more skill, it does work. That's why they're in business. Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information, but when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, and we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk. So I guess what I'm hearing Jackson say, and I'm going to turn it back to you, just dig your well before you're thirsty, right? Because
I love that. I've never heard that before. That's great.
Stole it from Harvey Mackay. He wrote a book titled Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. So Harvey Mackay, he's an older gentleman, he wrote it. So I don't know if he's around, but credit where credit's due. So for a lot of reasons, the kind of tactical ones Jackson said, but also the soft reasons, like if I've got 50 leads this month and I go on 27 bids and Jackson tells me no or haggles with me on price, it's a lot easier for me to go, well, there you go, moving on. But when I got 4 leads and only 2 bids this month, it can be real hard to sell because I'm in that panic mode. So just like Jackson talked about, it's hard to be successful in marketing. We're like, I got to have this. That's, we don't like taking clients. Like, I got to put all my money into this. If it doesn't work tomorrow, I'm screwed. It's like, well, then we got a different problem we need to solve. So same thing. If you're coming to any advertising thing as, hey, this has got to work tomorrow, I'm screwed. You're kind of already screwed. So again, back to the dig your well when you're thirsty. So what do you coach our people, Jackson, when they come? Because they all have, this is how we know this. Our people have these stresses and fears. We just walk them through it. So speak to the audience, if you would, that has had or is having that. I don't have any advertising that works. I've tested it before. None of it works. It's all garbage. Or I've got one that works, but not others. And I've tested others and they don't work. Like, I know it's hard, kind of one to many, but do your best to speak to them and give them some truth that'll be helpful for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, this happens. Just for perspective to everybody, I do calls twice a week. Well, 4 times a week, technically. I have 4 different calls a week. And I get, this gets brought up.
Cleaning company owners, not just
with cleaning company owners. Yeah. Just not with random people. I have other calls too, but that's different. On every single call, someone will bring this up, like without hesitation. And the easiest thing I've learned after doing this for 4+ years with cleaning company owners now, is to go through all these systems, all your advertising channels or whatever you do. It's got, numbers, statistics, data, information. And oftentimes it's very confusing. You don't know what it is. And instead of looking at it, you just make that overarching assumption that it didn't work or something didn't happen. But instead, what I've learned by going through that information or working backwards with the data or looking at it from that perspective with people, making it a lot simpler. Like, what do these numbers mean? I put up 1,000 door hangers and I got like 10 phone calls, or I got 3 phone calls, but I didn't get anything from it. It's like, okay, great. Let's look at those 10 phone calls instead of not what you didn't get. Let's talk about those 10 calls. How did they go? What was the conversation? Why was it bad? Oh, well, they were a small apartment, or they only wanted 2 monthly cleanings as opposed to 3 or something, yada, yada, yada. It's like, okay, great. Let's dig into that. And you go a little deeper actually into what the data means. On the ad side, oh, I didn't get any results. Okay, great. But did you get any bookings? Well, yeah, I got 1 booking, but they didn't show up. Okay, great. Why didn't they show up? Did we not send a reminder? Were they out of the area? Were they bad? Did people comment on the ads? Let's look at actually what did happen, because that also helps shift their mindset to something that's tangible that they can analyze, they can look at, and it gets them almost forgetting about this didn't work anymore. And instead, this is what did happen. This is what did work. How can I turn this information I have and leverage it and use it to get better results the next time I do door hangers, the next ad I launch? What story can I tell that's better on what I'm showing my potential customer? And that takes it from this ethereal, nothing's working view to a hard, concrete, I have data. I have an idea of somebody saw this because they liked it and they interacted with it, and I just didn't do a good job selling them, or I didn't follow up on the call, or something else. So I need to take X, Y, and Z action instead. That's progress, as opposed to just digging your head in the sand like an ostrich and saying, this doesn't work anymore. I'm moving on. I'm just going to crawl up in a ball and die. And I've seen that works really well by pivoting into the tangible versus the intangible. People tend to have better reactions with it. They tend to be more comfortable, relaxed. And yeah, I think that works pretty well.
So there's really 2 parts to the data. One is to have it and focus on it. 2 is not to eliminate the drama. So we just had a client on a call yesterday who needed 3 people to hire, and that's advertising, right? He's advertising for cleaners, and he had hired 1, but he needed 3. So he's only joined us like 2-3 weeks. He's a newer client, and he's like, I'm still cleaning, and he was just so committed to being miserable because he was cleaning, and he's like, this isn't working, nothing's working, and I'm like, and his spend was for that cleaner that he hired, and cleaner makes you $5-8 grand a month. Say they stay 6 months, we're talking 50 grand. He'd spend $87. So I was like, well, the data says you just need to spend $300. L3, like, it was pretty clear to, if you didn't, and the guy wasn't crazy. We all have this. We get the drama that, again, I might date one girl and it was such a bad experience. I might think globally, and other people go, oh, that's crazy. But I had this experience at a time, or who knows, whatever the case may be. So it's not just looking at the data, but it's going data first and no drama, or drama only is context to the data. But when we put the drama first, the data can't really kind of make its way in or be understood. So that said, I wanted to add to what you said about focus on what you get, not what you don't get. Because here's what happens. I like your door hanger one because you can do it in large numbers. Say you put out, well, what they'll generally say is, I did a ton of door hangers. Like, well, what does that mean?
Yep.
Right. Because a ton to them means a ton because it was hard, or they expected it to be easy, or whatever the case is. They went out for 4 hours. Well, I printed 5,000. Okay. How many did you hang? 209. Or probably they didn't even track it. I don't know, about 200, which means actually 106, right? How many calls did you get? None. Well, again, if we're looking for a 1% response rate, which would be very good with door hangers, you put out 100, you're expecting 1. So the fact that you get 3 would be kind of lucky, but not data. And the fact that you got none would be kind of unlucky, but not data. When you put out 1,000 and you're like, I got 7 calls, or whatever the case may be, what happened, the worst part of what happened, so first and foremost, people just don't do enough, right? Like, I spent $150 on Facebook and I'm not a billionaire yet. Like, yeah, no one is. That's obviously. So they don't do enough. And then when they do enough, the drama can be so bad, they ignore the data. So I've literally had people, I'm making up these numbers because I didn't write it down, but I've had people with this very similar situation. Maybe they'll put out 2,000 door hangers and maybe they only got 11 calls. And of those 11 calls, 6 people were jerks. I just want this. It's Friday. Like, they were just bad. That's all they talk about. And then we get down to the data, and of those 6, the 6 people are jerks. I mean, 5 weren't. They went on appointments with 4. They sold 3. Those 3 people were $500 each. It's $1,500 a month, about $20,000, $18,000 a year in annual recurring revenue. How much did you spend? $600. Like, okay, so what are we doing? Because they had such a negative experience with the 5, 6 people. What they're really saying, when you distill it down to the data, you take out the dramas. I had to talk with 5 people or 6 people I didn't like that I felt were mean to make $1,500 a month in recurring revenues. Like, how long were those conversations? If you added them all up, all 5 of them, 24 minutes. Like, okay, what are we doing? Right. So the drama can just overwhelm the data when we are focusing on what doesn't work. I'll give you guys an example. We take about a couple dozen clients a month at this point, and we get about 400 applications. I could focus on 380 people that they'd either tell us to piss off, or we don't think they're a fit, or they don't have any money. I could blame everybody, including Jackson or whoever would listen, and it wouldn't make a goddamn difference, because at the end of the day, if we just focus on the clients we have, it makes us all a very, very, very good living, and we're able to have the impact that we want. So really can't overemphasize the focusing on the reality of what you got, not on what you didn't get, because that's the way of marketing. Whether it's, I had a group interview and, 8 people showed up and none of them could speak English. None? Well, 3. Okay. Of the 5 that did speak English, well, yeah, I hired 2 of them. They're really good. But there was 5. It's like, what are we doing here? And it's weird. Like, we want to abuse ourselves. We can't just enjoy the win. We got to focus on the negative.
You guys think like we're joking. It's 100% how this goes. These conversations always go this way. It always starts out, the end is nigh, the world is terrible. Well, actually, I made like $2,000. It's like, well, that's awesome. Great.
The weird thing is they go the other way. Sometimes they'll feel like something's going, like Facebook told me I got 1 billion impressions. They're like, cool, how many leads and bids? Well, I didn't get any of those, but it's okay. And here's like, it's so funny. We just want to be irrational. So if you're going to take anything away, just to sum this up, everyone, set expectations that are reasonable. Go by the data, not the drama, right? The numbers. And if you want data, ROI, return on how much should I spend? How much is coming back? And the nice thing with owners of cleaning companies is, say we spend all of the money that we get the first month, right? For residential, say it's a $500 client. For commercial, it's a $2,000 client. And we spend all that to get a client. Well, gosh, commercial churn is so low, that client might stay 5-10 years. That $2,000 a month client that you spent $2,000 to get, if he stays 2 years, that's 50 grand, like best ROI you're ever going to find. For residential, same thing. You spend $500 to get a client that spends $500 a month. They stay 2 years. That's like 10 grand. So the nice, ROI. And I coach our people, you can still make money if you don't do this good, but if you get all of your money back that you spend on marketing in month 1. So if you spend less than the first month's value of the client, that's a win. You're going to do really well. You can do that till the cows come home. So that's when I talk data. It's like, what do you mean? What data? Like, what's important? Like, really just return on investment. How much you spend, how much you're going to get back over what period of time. That's it. And the second thing is focusing on the data, test a bunch of stuff. And testing doesn't mean I threw money here, said it didn't work, and then repeated that with a bunch of different spots. I put money here. I tracked exactly how many people reached out. I made a tweak, did it again, changed the offer, made it a little bigger, put it over here, changed the targeting, and you could be successful. All right. Anything to add before we wrap, Jackson?
No, that's spot on.
Cool. All right. So guys, gals, I love Hate These Marketing episodes because I know you guys want client attraction. I love doing that for you. Hate them because it's really a one-on-one, like Jackson's calls. He's like, pull up your face. Like, let's go. Like, let me see your copy. Like we can really let me open your market. Like we have all the data. We can really do it. And obviously we're kind of coaching with two hands behind our back. And I don't want to be the boring guy that's just like talking all the stuff that we do, but I'd rather be that than the exciting guy who tells you you're going to be a billionaire tomorrow. And, then you're frustrated when you're not. So all that said, if you're like, this is helpful, but I need more help, this is not enough, feel free to reach out. We're happy to have a real conversation with you about your goals, where you're at, where you want to be, and help you make a plan. And if us working together is part of that, great. If not, guess what? We get about 400 people that reach out. And if you're in the 380, we can still be friends. We'll still make sure you get some value. So reach out anytime. Love to hear from you and love to help you at a deeper level. Get the cleaning company that you deserve. Like most of the clients we have are really good at cleaning. They're really good at building a culture. They got so much good stuff and they're just missing a couple things. If that's you, reach out. You don't need to live like that. We can do better. Talk soon. See you. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I really appreciate it, and we sure appreciate your time and attention.